Hi, Patrick Phillip here at Effective Martial Arts HQ. In this lesson, how to develop good leg dexterity for grappling. Alright, so in this video, you're going to discover everything you need to know to be able to make use of the full range of motion of all the joints in your lower body. Specifically, your toes, your ankles, your knees, your hips, as well as your lower body hip position. This is really important, especially for grappling in the bottom position. And one of the most under-taught skills in grappling, because it's something you kind of acquire, and experienced grapplers acquire this over time by practicing with a lot of different partners. But by identifying these specific drills, you can really cut your learning curve and increase your ability to execute the techniques in the bottom position in grappling. So that's our mission here at Effective Martial Arts, on our channel and in our school. We teach one curriculum for striking, wrestling, and grappling. And our mission is to help students of all levels improve faster through innovation. So we're always coming up with cool drills and variations to help our students improve faster. So this is a great example. We've been working on this recently in class, and we found a tremendous improvement in myself, my own skills, as well as a lot of students by identifying these drills and increasing our dexterity with the legs and the range of motion with our legs. So specifically, this is going to be useful for guard retention, right? If you're on your back, the person's about to pass your guard, you want to be able to bring your legs back in. It also often starts, or most often starts, with grip fighting. So if they're trying to control your legs, if you move your legs in different ways to break the grips, get advantageous grips of your own, you can start going for sweeps, you can shoot triangles, you can do a lot of different things if you maneuver your legs in advantageous positions. So follow the drills that we're going to do in this video. We're going to go step by step. We're going to also do some quite advanced variations, so make sure you watch till the end for some very cool advanced variations. But if you're just starting out, don't feel bad, just do what you can and keep going from there. So you might want to come back to this video for the more advanced variations once you acquire the basics. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So you got a few joints in your lower body, right? There's the toes, the ankles, the knees, and the hips, and how to move each. So let's start with the toes. So here, your toes, you can either have them flexed or you can have them bent. Here, flexed or bent. Different angle, flexed or bent. Now, you have to think about your feet as kind of like monkey feet. You know how the monkeys kind of grab onto branches? Now, we don't have the same level of flexibility with the feet, but just by bending your toes like this, you can get some level of control on upper body or a leg or something you're trying to grab with your toes. Flexing here with your toes will allow you to create a more powerful hook as well. If you're perhaps hooking a leg or underneath an elbow, you can, by adding the layer of your toes, will give you an extra layer of control. Next one is the ankles. So you can either point your ankles or you can flex your ankles. But that's not all. You can also twist your ankles from side to side here, or both on one side, both on the other side. And when you put it all together, pointing, flexing, and turning, you get a rotation. So I recommend starting with 1 foot, right? You can point and do a good rotation here all around. And you can even add the toes to your rotation here, which will increase the dexterity and your ability to kind of wiggle into small spaces with your foot. So you definitely want to make use of that other foot as well. And then when you put both together, you could do outside in circles, inside out circles, or both on one side or both on the other side. So we're just using the ankles and toes to start. The next joint that we need to be comfortable moving is the knees. And this one is pretty straightforward. So just extending the legs and bending the legs. Now, most people, that's the thing with leg dexterity. Most people are used to just walking around or running with the legs. So we don't naturally have a very developed level of dexterity with the legs. But if you practice these drills, you can learn to use your legs basically like another pair of hands. And that's a huge advantage for grappling or fighting in the bottom position. So again, knees bent or extended. Here, quite simple. The next joint that you need to be able to use is your hip joint. So for the hips, it moves in a lot of different ways. The hips is basically a ball joint. So your femur goes into the ball joint of your hip and it can move around. It can twist like so, and it can move around in the full range of motion of your hip. So twisting, it could go here, side to side like this, or here, just with one leg. See, twisting. Or if it's straight, it can twist, right? You have a certain level of motion with your leg in the twisting inside the ball joint. If the leg is bent, you see a little bit more. It could go side to side like this. Without moving my hips, here I can twist my leg inside the joint. The other thing you can do is rotate. So you can rotate your femur inside the ball joint of your hip. Here, so and if you do it with a straight leg, you'll see a little bit better. You could do a big circle here using the full range of motion of your hip. And you can do it with the other one as well, here and here. Full range of motion. Now, to increase the range of motion of your hip joint, that's one of the sticking points for a lot of beginner students, is to be able to go further in every direction with the hip joint. So the main exercise that I do for this, that I'm still practicing, is bringing your leg, so your knee, down behind your armpit. So you're basically pulling your knee to the ground with your shin perpendicular and your foot pointing at the ceiling. So by pulling your foot in here, you will increase the range of motion of your hip. You can also do it with both feet here, pulling your feet down and your knees down behind your armpits, like so. You can also do kind of a butterfly stretch in this position, so pushing your knees to the outside. And you can also bring your feet to your head over here. And you can extend as well with legs straight like so. You can do this from the other position as well. From the top position, you can have your leg bent here and try to bend your forehead on the inside of your foot here. Okay, so this is really a hip joint mobility exercise. It's not so much a muscular stretch, but really a hip joint mobility exercise. You can also do it from here with the shin perpendicular to the ground and dropping your shoulder below your knee, here or here. So this will increase the range of motion of the hip joint, specifically the ball joint of the femur inside the capsule that is your hip joint. Now, that's not all. You can also move your hips entirely, so your lower body hip position. And specifically, you can angle them, twist them, or lift them. So here it goes. So here, when you're in the supine position, you can angle your hips. So just moving your hips from side to side. See, my head, upper body didn't move, and I'm just moving my hips off to the left and to the right, like so. So that's the angle. I can also twist. So I can bring my knees down to the ground over here on both sides. So twisting here. And I can also lift. So you want to be able, using your strong core muscles, to get your hips off the ground. So here my hips are resting on the ground and off the ground they go. So here, you see, not touching the ground. Here it's only the middle part of the back that touches. And stick around for a more advanced variation. We're going to see how to get to a more challenging position using this movement. Now, when you put everything together, you get the hip twist. So, a hip switch, sorry. So we saw this in the abs for grappling video. So here, getting the hips off the ground, moving them at an angle, and adding a twist so you wind up on the side over here. This is a very important guard retention exercise, and it's a great ab exercise at the same time. So you will get your abs stronger as you practice these drills. So here, lifting the hips, using the inside elbow for base, and going from the other side here. So I'm twisting, lifting, and angling at the same time. So I'm moving my hips in both directions. So that's how to move your hips. Now, when you use the other joints in your legs, you will create momentum that now makes it easier to move your hips. So here's some cool advanced variations putting everything together. So there it goes. First is pummeling. So losing all the joints in the body, we could do it just with the knees, ankles, and toes. So you could pummel here. So I'm using just here the rotation or the twisting of the ball joint inside the hip. So as you notice, my femur is not changing position, it's just rotating sideways, and I'm using the extension and bending of my knees, as well as my ankles and my toes as well, flexing and pointing the toes here. I could do it in the other direction as well. Notice the hips are not moving. We're gonna add the hips at the next step here. Okay, so outside, and it's good to be able to go both on the same side here, just to develop that coordination, and both on the other side as well, here. And more advanced variation, inside out, here, so opposite directions. So here, they cross each other in the middle, or the other way, here, here, or here. Opposite directions. This is really good to develop your coordination in the legs, so move each leg independently. Because remember, there's a lot of things going on when you're grappling. You're doing something different with each leg and each hand at the same time, right? So you need to develop that coordination in all your four limbs independently. Moving on, if we add the hips to that, we're gonna add the twisting of the hips. So this movement you should practice alone first, basically getting one foot to the knee here and one foot to the knee. So here you're making use of the angle of the hip and the twisting of the femur inside the ball joint of the hip at the same time. Here, 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 here. Different angle, like so, getting the foot to the knee, foot to knee. Foot to knee, drill. Here, 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 here. Now when you do it with the pummeling, it gives you a greater range of motion with your feet. So here, pummeling, getting the hips side to side at the same time. And you can go faster or slower. You can do the other direction as well. Notice the hips moving from side to side. Here, like so. Now, we didn't make use of the hip joint at all here. So using the full range of motion of the hip, getting the ankle here, the femur moving inside the hip, we could do it with the pummeling as well. Here. So I'm going very far in both directions. And again, you can do both sides. Here, bringing one knee to one chest and the other leg extended. We can also do it with both legs at the same time. So opening up and closing. Opening up and closing, or the other direction. Here, you want to grab somebody in your guard. Like so. And we can also do it, this is a great ab exercise, with both legs straight and moving in opposite directions. So I'm keeping the legs together and going around. Or the other direction. Here. Here. Now when we practice that, this is a cool drill, is we call it helicopter get-ups. So we're gonna throw one leg at a time and use the other one to get up into our combat base. So remember we saw in the grappling basics, the technical stand-up here, when somebody's applying pressure and want to get out of that. But sometimes we're on the ground and a person runs away, we want to catch him. So then it's in our best interest to get up this way. Now to do so faster, throw the leg here, follow up with the other leg. Here, fold under, and get to the combat base. Once again, a little bit faster. Here, throw, and follow up using the momentum. Again, other side. Here, throw, and follow up. Right here. Helicopter get-ups. Really cool. Now, that's not all. So, we got our pummeling, we got our hips. Now we can combine our pummeling of the legs using specifically the hip joint to add momentum to our hip switch. So we can do it just with the hip joint rotation. So here, hip joint, hip joint, hip joint, and follow through, spin into a hip switch so that we wind up in the side supine position. Again, from this position, one leg bent, one leg straight, circle out, and follow through into the side supine position. And we can even do that with the pummeling drill. Pummel, 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 shoot out the leg, and follow up with a hip switch. Come back in the middle, pummel, 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 large pummels or small pummels, and then shoot the leg out, hip switch, here. And you can even take it one step further and really go really far. Here, so pummel, 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 here, shoot out and really go for a spin here. So you go almost 360. And if you go faster, you can really create a lot of rotation that way. Moving on, if you're able to do that so far, you can do the same thing in the seated position here. So pummeling in the seated position using your hands and back. Again, you can do small pummels. Again, the hips are going to move a little bit side to side, outside as well, inside, both, outside, both. In this position, it's a good idea as well to practice crossing your ankles. So sometimes you want to gain control of something with your ankles. Here and other side here, as well as progressing to triangles. Here, so locking your foot behind your knee over here and flexing your foot. Here, that's another example is when it's useful to flex the ankle. Here, so you lock a tighter triangle. And here, triangle left, triangle right. Go back to guard, back to triangle. Switch sides, guard, close, far, legs extended. Bring it in, triangle, here and here. Back to pummeling in the seated position. This is a great ab exercise as well. Now, for those of you who need more challenge, the inverted pummeling. This is a more advanced variation, so you definitely want to be comfortable with the previous ones first before you tackle this one. But if you are going to call yourself any type of grappler, you must be able to do this technique as well. So you have to be able to do the inverted position, which is like so. Here, staying upside down with your toes touching the mat. It does require a little bit of flexibility in the neck, hamstrings, back. So if you're not there yet, if let's say you get to this position and your feet are high, just hang out in this position for a little while and try to increase your flexibility. Do this a little bit day by day. The next thing you need is a little bit of balance. So you need to be able to rock from shoulder to shoulder over here and understand your center of weight. You can use your elbows for base as well. And when you're on the side, you can use your hands as well. So you must be able to hang out upside down like so, and even on one shoulder over here. So now I'm using my hand here for base, my other hand here for base. And then the goal would be to be able to pummel in this position, upside down. Small pummels and large pummels here, or the other direction as well. Keeping my balance here, and then doing so on the other shoulder as well. Small pummels, and large pummels. And even in the middle, upside down, straight here, pummeling. Another little bonus exercise for you guys, being able to elevate with no momentum. So earlier we saw the concept of lifting the hips off the ground like so, here with no momentum. But now getting to our inverted position with no momentum. This is really cool. And it's a great ab workout at the same time. So here, lifting the hips, and then pursuing by digging the elbows into the mat, here with perfect control, getting to our inverted position like so. And then back. As slow as you can for perfect control. Here, back down, and again, flex, and lift. Yeah, it feels good. Here, and back down, slow. There we go. Yeah, so that's a great ab workout. So there you have it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. That's pretty much everything you need to know to be able to move your legs with dexterity. Practice these. I recommend you take notes from this video. And again, if you're just starting out, take your time. Okay, it does take time to develop those skills and the ability to control your legs with the same level of dexterity that you control your hands. But I promise you, if you practice these drills and you do so regularly, you will increase tremendously your leg dexterity. And it'll be a lot easier then to apply your techniques with a partner and even a resisting, skilled opponent in grappling. So you will be very happy that you invested the time in order to develop that skill of leg dexterity. So if you've practiced these and noticed an improvement, let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions, feel free to answer as well. I know some of these drills are quite complex for people, especially beginners. But again, with time, you would get there. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask below and I'll be happy to help. And for more awesome tutorials, guys, in striking, wrestling, and grappling, make sure to subscribe to our channel if you're not already. For those who are returning subscribers, thank you very much for following us. It's a privilege to be able to share information with you. This is my passion. I'm having a blast doing this, and I'm really happy you guys are along for the ride. So if you have not subscribed already, do so right now. We've got tons of good stuff coming up for you. So, till next time, Patrick Phillip here at Effective Martial Arts HQ in Pointe Claire, West Island of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Thank you very much for watching. Practice well.